6 o'clock, we'll go and get started with our meeting. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I know we've got a beautiful day out there today. I know that there's other folks in our state that are dealing with a lot of flooding. There's a lot of outreach going on, and I would ask that you join me in a moment of silence to pray for those folks and for our town as well. Amen. If you'll please stand with me and face the flag and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The first item on our agenda tonight is our conflict of interest statement. Al?
Thank you, Mayor. Pursuant to North Carolina state law and the Town of Mocksville Code of Ethics Policy, I ask each elected official that before you adopt the agenda, if you have any actual, potential, or perceived conflict of interest with respect to any matter on the proposed agenda which you will consider tonight. If so, please speak up and let the board know at this time before the agenda is adopted.
One thing that I do have out on item number, under new business, item number C, on the discontinued right-of-ways on Clement Crest subdivision, I'll be recusing myself from that portion, and Mayor Pro Tem Rob Taylor will be taking over at that time to present that to the board.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other conflict of interest issues? If not, then I'll ask that the board adopt the agenda unless there's any other additions or deletions.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion from Rob and a second from Carl. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. The next item on our agenda is our citizen comments. If there's anybody here tonight that would like to speak about anything other than what's going on in the public hearings tonight, this will be your chance to step up to the podium, and you've got 3 minutes to speak about anything that might be on your mind. If you'd just like to step up to the podium, state your name, and just whatever you'd like to speak about.
I apologize, I'm not real sure what's on the agenda for tonight. It's the first time that we've ever been.
Okay.
My name is Brian Shoppy. We live at 335 Bear Creek Church Road. We've been there since roughly 2010. And my big concern is in residential agricultural area, the allowance of 6 to 15 RVs parked on a agricultural property. Seen from the street, most likely running off of a single residence septic tank with power poles and set up like a campground. And we have some concerns, and we're not sure what we can do, but we're approaching that now, and hopefully somebody here could help us.
Okay, Brian, anything else you want to say on that? Or is that
No,
Okay.
We just oppose it.
okay? We'll check into that, and somebody will be back in touch with you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else here tonight that would like to speak about anything that might be on your mind? Okay, then we'll close out the public comment section, and we'll move right on to our next item, which is a public hearing. We do have a public hearing for a text amendment to add the definition and conditions to the table of uses for a planned mixed conditional development. I'm going to ask Johnny Easter if he'll come up and present.
Thank you, Mayor, Board. Tonight, I'm going to present to you a zoning map amendment. I apologize, a zoning text amendment. So it's a mixed plan conditional development, okay? It's a PMDC is what we're calling it. In essence, what this is it's a definition in the table of uses and the specific conditions for a planned conditional development coming for the town of Mocksville. So planned development is intended for single-family developments. and a maximum of 20% of the total land development may be utilized for multifamily or non-residential commercial uses, or 15% of the land may be used for a combination of lodging and other non-residential uses. The compatibility, location, and appropriateness of a multifamily or non-residential uses proposed shall be carefully considered. Those commercial uses in the overall site plan will be permitted and approved with conditions approved by the Mocksville Board of Commissioners and shall be reflected on the conditional zoning district supplemental issued by the zoning administrator. Some of the things, and I won't read through everything with this, so some of the big highlights in here, we're looking for 20-acre lot developments, okay? With the approval plan, the developer, the commercial uses in the individual development shall be reflected on the approval. This would require sidewalks. This would require buffering as a part of the development to all zoning districts that are just single-family residential only that join it. It does require common area. It does ask the developer to submit architectural design standards that will be utilized in the development. It does require outdoor lighting, that decorative lighting, and does require that any deviation would have to go through this board for approval. So in essence, what we're looking to do is a quick and easy way to address some of the design and some of the issues reflected in the developments here in the town of Mocksville. This to go through the planning board, we tweaked it a little bit. It submitted it to the attorney. And Al had a couple of things that wanted to be addressed. So at this time, we're going to ask not the board not to take a vote on it tonight. We're going to take it back to the planning board to tweak it. And at this time, I'd love to have any questions or any concerns that we could address in this before we bring this back to you.
Okay.
So what we're looking at is when we go through a rezoning, through a subdivision, this will allow some of the designs, some of the, I guess, concerns by the community have been voiced with some of the future developments. This would be baked into the approval process. So when the developer comes in, we're going to look at it and say, okay, we need you to do this, need you to do this, and these are baked in before it comes to this board. So with the buffering, and ultimately, this board would look and address any concerns with the developer and sign off on it. So I'd be more than happy to address any questions or concerns this board has at this time.
So Johnny, if this would have been in place before last month's meeting when we talked to the Kents Road folks and denied that one, would this have applied to that?
Well, yes, it would have. Yes, it would have. With that 20 acres there, we looked at the 20 acres, and this is going to get some of the larger developments that we have out here, because what we're looking at is some of the developments are coming in. People want to do more of a mixed use, a more small scale. So with this, if somebody wants to come in, this board ultimately would have address some concerns. It wouldn't go through a public hearing or rezoning, but this board would allow to say, hey, we want to address this or address this. Plus, if they say, you know what, I don't want to put sidewalks in for whatever reason because of the layout of the land, ultimately, any of the requirements in here, the board would have to make final approval for any deviations of that. So what we're looking at is to have a better hold on some of the larger developments in there. I know we've talked about addressing the totality and the whole of the subdivision ordinance as well as this. This is a quick and easy fix to address some of the development concerns that are going on here throughout, the county of Davie and as well as Mocksville.
Okay. So any questions from the board to Johnny at this time? So since we did advertise a public hearing, Johnny, we're going to go and open up in case somebody came to speak for or against this. Then we'll close the public hearing, and then I'll let the board make a motion to table this to another meeting.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Just a moment. I believe Al had some concerns he wanted to discuss before, or would that be after the public comments?
No, I don't have any concerns about this at this time. I do suggest that the town board continue the public hearing to November, so it does not have to be re-advertised, and if anybody has some comments, they'd have two chances to speak.
Thank you, Johnny. So at this time, we're going to open up the public hearing. You may have come tonight to speak on this, and we want to give you that opportunity. So if anybody would like to speak in favor of this text amendment to define the conditions and table uses for planned mixed conditional development. If you'd like to speak in favor of this, you can step up to the podium and do so. Or if you would like to speak against it. So if there's nobody here to speak regarding this public hearing tonight, we'll close the public hearing and take it to the board.
Mr.
I'm
Mayor,
sorry,
if we
we'll
can
table.
have a motion to continue the
sorry.
public hearing.
So
So moved.
We'll have a motion to table the public hearing,
Continue.
the public hearing to our next meeting. We have a motion and then a second from Jenny. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. So no other action on that, right, Al?
Right.
So moving on to the second public hearing, we have a public hearing for the purpose of extending the job creation deadline to June 30th as approved by the Golden Leaf Foundation Board for Liberty Storage Project. Is Michael Walser here?
He's not, I can handle that.
Thank you.
Mayor and Board, back in 2022, we executed a performance agreement for incentives that we were offering to Liberty Sheds. Because of the nature of the recovery and the shed business was really booming during COVID, it has dropped off dramatically since then. Liberty Sheds had a goal of creating 45 new jobs, which would put their total jobs up to 89. They have currently at 58 full-time jobs. They were going to build a rail spur out at the new facility that they built, but they ran into an issue with an old sewer line. They decided to scrap that project, so they are asking for additional time to meet the performance guidelines. Golden Leaf has already given them an extension of the grant. Through our performance agreement, we have the clawback provision for any funding that's provided. So the Golden Leaf money went to, was it the road or the sewer line, Lynn? We went to do the new sewer line for the facility. So in order to have a clawback provision for us to be able to collect that, because Golden Leaf will come to us first, we need to have this new agreement in place.
Okay. So any questions for Ken on this?
And I may not have mentioned it, but it's, they're asking for 2026, the extension.
Okay. Thank you, Ken. So again, this is a public hearing and we'll have to take it to the public for anybody here that would like to speak for or against this extending the job creation deadline. If there's anybody here that would like to speak for it, you can step up to the podium and speak. Or if there's anybody that would like to speak against it. So if not, then we'll close the public hearing, and this will go to the board. Does the board have any questions for Ken regarding this? If we're not, then we'll just need a motion to approve the consideration of extending the job creation deadline to June 30th, 2026, as approved by the Golden Leaf Foundation Board.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion from Justin and a second from Johnny Fry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you. So we're moving on to communications from boards, commissions, and agencies. The first proclamation that we have on the agenda tonight is for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I'll just add to the minutes of our meeting that October 2024 is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and they're asking that in October that we put purple lights out on our porches or in our windows to let folks know that it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. You'll see things going on in town throughout October regarding this. And then our second proclamation regards Operation Greenlight for Veterans. So in November, the Veterans Administration is asking that we put green lights on our poles out front and in our windows to honor our veterans. This is something that we've done for the last several years, but it'll be added to the minutes of our meeting that the proclamation made regarding Operation Greenlight for Veterans. So thank you for coming out. If you came out regarding either of those proclamations. The next item on our agenda is we're going to recognize an employee. I'm going to ask Fire Chief Carter to come up, and he's recognizing one of our firemen.
Mr. Mayor, Board, guests, we have an announcement we want to make tonight. As you know, we approached you guys about hiring a full-time fire captain at the Mocksville Fire Department that would be there during the day to help with administrative duties and help move us forward. So we have selected Mr. C.J. Dwiggins, and his family is here tonight, and we're going to pin his badge tonight. Welcome him aboard as an official Mocksville firefighter. And just know that we stole him from Charlotte, so we're doing good. CJ is going to be a great asset to me to help me when I'm not here. So we look forward to this next chapter in our department.
CJ, is there anything that you would like to say?
I would just like to extend my thanks to Chief Carter for the opportunity and the town. I've been a part-time town employee for almost 10 years now with the fire department, and I've enjoyed every second of it. Davie County is where I was born and raised, and I love the town, I love this county, and I look forward to great things and moving the fire department along and seeing as we progress. So just looking forward to amazing opportunities. So thank you.
Thank you, CJ. Congratulations. I know that the town will support you in all that you do, and I know the board's behind you 100%. So I'm glad you're there. They could have made a better choice. Moving right along, social media quarterly report, Merrick Kirkpatrick.
Well, it's great to be here this evening. Thank you for letting me come to quickly review the social media trends that we're seeing with your accounts. My name is Merrick Kirkpatrick. I'm working with Wordmaster Media Group on the social media to manage that and the website. I've been excited to see the recent upswing in AI. Like many of us, artificial intelligence has been a big trend. And an interesting thing that we're seeing in social media is how that artificial intelligence is driving people to have a greater desire for a real and authentic relationship and interaction online with people that they are following, the accounts that they're following. And I'm excited to see an increase in engagement on the Town of Mocksville accounts overall. And so I wanted to talk about that tonight. The accounts that we'll be managing. It's not moving.
It's not moving. Go ahead and tell them we love technology.
It's great. What is it?
I'm gonna go back out of it. See, because you know it worked the other day.
There we go. Now it looks normal.
All right, we got it.
Sorry about that. Thank you. Technology is good. So the accounts that we are managing for the Town of Mocksville include the Facebook page, the Instagram page, and our brand new YouTube channel, which we've been able to assist with setting up. We are also overseeing the social media account for Mocksville. We're directly managing the Bed Race account and the Mocksville Farmers Market account. So those are things that we've been able to, we'll be able to give you a report on tonight. The numbers that we're using for Q3 include June 24th through September 21st. So you'll be seeing some of those statistics in graph form in just a minute. But first, before we began to manage the accounts, what we did was we audited those accounts in order to make sure that the accounts were optimized so that users and residents would be able to better find the content that they're looking for, both on the social media accounts as well as through the website. So what that entailed was updating the descriptions so that we were including keywords that would help people to search for the things that they were trying to find, the information that they're looking for when they are searching for events or when they're searching for meeting information and that type of thing, and when they're specifically looking for those things from the Town of Mocksville. We updated the profiles in order to reflect branding that was appropriate for each account. We also audited the settings. There were some settings that needed to be, that were deficient, and so people were not able to find the accounts as easily. So we were able to update those. We created a business manager to secure the accounts so that access would be available always to someone within the town so that those pages couldn't be hijacked in any way. The metrics that we'll be looking at tonight will include reach, interactions, which is engagements, and the follower numbers. The main metric that we're interested in is the reach. That's us trying to make sure that more people can see the content that we are presenting to them. And the feedback that we're getting has been good. We are also getting a lot of engagement, which is what I showed in interactions there. You can see we saw an increase from Q2, which is quite a bit for reach and interactions. And we did see an increase in followers, especially after we audited the accounts and updated the settings. The reach for the Instagram page also increased. The interactions and engagement went up a little bit as well. And we were able to add followers to our account. The YouTube channel is brand new, like we mentioned. It's already got some views, about 26 hours of view time as of the date that we're figuring the statistics for September 21st.
So Mayor, what videos are on that YouTube channel? I'm just curious.
Those are the videos of the meetings.
Okay,
So say hi.
okay.
The website stats are showing that our links and pointing out resources that are available on the website are leading to an increase of people visiting the website. We saw an increase in users. We saw an increase in events, which is all of the activities that occur on our website. So when people download something, when people print something out, when people look for another page, or when people scroll through a page, those are our events. And so we saw a significant increase in those, as well as an increase in the number of users. And specifically the numbers that we were really interested in were seeing an increase in users and seeing also an increase of users coming from our social media accounts, which we were able to track using Google Analytics. And that shows that compared to Q2, Q3 numbers were up, showing that visitors were finding us on social media. So that was a good way for us to track that. Some of the other statistics, just really quickly, these numbers were increased bed rates. We did not really see an increase because that was not a managed account from the town. But the other ones we did see an increase. And these are the numbers of followers, the total reach, the interactions, engagements. We saw an average of about 20 or 25% increases in reach on both the fire department and the farmers market accounts. Some of the goals that we were able to meet for Q3 include that we wanted to increase engagements and interactions with residents to make sure that they were feeling that authentic connection and the transparency that the board and the town has been trying to make sure people knew was a priority. We were also able to show users that their conversation is of value to you as the town representatives, leadership, in your decision-making processes. That we got really good feedback that was the case. Our website resources are being highlighted on our social media accounts now and being discovered by our community. The residents have all expressed appreciation online to the conversations they've been able to have about certain issues that are important to them and that are affecting them. They've also appreciated us being able to direct them to resources on the website, which were helpful to them, answering their questions. We created a listing for the farmers market on Google. There wasn't an address there that was correct, and people weren't able to locate it on Google Maps, so we were able to create an account for that and get that on the map, so to speak. And again, as I mentioned, we created a business portfolio in order to secure the town accounts, and we're in the process of getting all of those accounts put into one business portfolio for access. We're working with the fire department to get theirs into the same business portfolio. They very nicely set up their own into a business portfolio. So we're working on that. That's one of the goals that we have for Q4. Some of the other goals that we have will be to promote Jeanette's events. and to work with tourism and Jeanette to make sure that we are developing not just relationships with people, but also reaching people with the event information and coordinating with marketing. We look forward to learning more about our audiences, both in real life at events and online, continuing that. But specifically, we will continue to build and generate citizen engagement and build trust and motivate our community to take specific actions like coming to this meeting. And being able to communicate real time has made a difference in engaging with them. So basically, I would just want to emphasize the importance of communication and how social media is able to be part of that. Successful communication often depends not just on what we say, but on how well we listen. And that is something that we continue to hope to see being successful with the residents. And we've seen a terrible example with the tragedies as to how important crisis communication can be and how social media can play a part in getting information out urgently and quickly in whatever situation it is, whether it's something as simple as a change in a meeting or something as dire as the devastation that we're seeing in Western communities. So now I'd just like to open up for questions if anyone has any other questions about the accounts or the statistics that we've shared here.
Any questions for Meredith? Meredith? Yes. Okay. Meredith, thank you for making a presentation. We appreciate that. I know this is something new to the board because we've never had this before, but it's good.
Great. Any questions? Always available.
Okay. Thank you so much. So next item on the agenda, Mocksville Tourism Development Authority Quarterly Finance Report, Lynn Trivet.
Thank you, Mayor, board members. According to the MTDA bylaws, the finances are to be reported to the town board on a quarterly basis. I am the finance officer for the MTDA and will be presenting to you. In front of you, so I thought, hold on. There's too many things open. This would happen to me. Okay, here we go. In front of you, on your little TV screens, you could probably see the numbers better. This is the budget versus, this is one spreadsheet I create for the tourism board. And this is the budget versus actuals in front of you from July to September, which is the first quarter. Their fiscal year 24-25 budget, they voted on $81,000. And their current revenues are $24,440.68. As you can see, $22,427.59 is made up of the occupancy tax, which is the most revenue they get into their budget. Their current expenditures as of today is $37,544.27, and you'll see the list of line items that are currently budgeted for them. Year to date, MTDA, the ending balance, is $232,804.95. But then the Mocksville Tourism Board voted to invest $100,000 of those funds into a 6-month CD while the interest rates were still good. And so now, as of today, it's down to $132,000 and $804. And I just want to know if y'all had any questions.
Any questions for Lynn? Thank you, Lynn. Next item on the agenda tonight is the consent agenda. If you had a chance to look at the minutes and the financials and so on, we just need a motion to approve. We have a motion from Carl and a second from Justin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. There's no old business tonight. Moving on to new business, we have an item under new business. Item number A is to consider amending personnel policy section 11. And I've got Emily on that, yes.
Evening. So yes, so this is an amendment to the employee personnel policy, and it is in regards to a new North Carolina law regarding pornography on government networks and devices. So to follow the new directive from the General Assembly, we have updated the technology policy and the employee policy to reflect the required changes, including blocking all access to such content across our network, requiring any such content to be removed from town-issued devices, and also adding reporting requirements. So for reference, our policy already prohibits this, so this just added the language to it to encapsulate the new legislation. So, any questions?
Any questions for Emily? If not, then we just need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion from Jenny,
Second.
second from Rob. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
Next item is to consider a resolution authorizing legal action to enforce an ordinance ordering the town code enforcement officer to enforce minimum housing at 900 North Main Street. Al?
Thank you, Mayor. This is a belt and suspenders resolution. This authorizes the town attorney to bring a code enforcement action against a derelict property on North Main Street. And it's necessary because there's a Court of Appeals decision where the city of Albemarle code enforcement action was discontinued by the courts because there was not proof in the court's file that the town council authorized the proceeding, which is why I call it a belt and suspenders resolution, and I respectfully ask that the board adopt this resolution.
Any questions for Al? If not, then we just need a motion to adopt the resolution.
So moved.
A motion from Justin, a second from Johnny Fry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. And finally, I'm gonna let Rob Taylor take over.
All right, we're dealing with, in new business, section C, considering a resolution to permanently discontinue right-of-ways in Clement Crest subdivision. And Ken, I understand you will present that to us?
Yes. Okay, on the screen, you see the property in question and the areas that are in between the property line of 744 and all the way across the backs of 744, 748, 776, 784, and 792. And next to 792 were all established as either an alleyway or a public right-of-way when this subdivision was platted way back in 1946. There has never been any public dedication of the right-of-ways, and we have a written request from David and Shirley Jones. Mayor, please note on the resolution, if the board decides to approve the resolution, it needs to be approved with David and Shirley Jones's names as the requesters. But they have made a written request asking the town to consider discontinuing these right-of-ways and returning the property to the property owners. And generally, the way this is done is the board does decide to do this at the next meeting after a public hearing. That property would be split between the two adjacent property owners wherever that alleyway and the public right-of-way is. So we are asking staff is asking board to approve the resolution that will allow us to start proceeding with the process, which will involve posting the alleyway and the right-of-ways, and also advertising the closure in the newspaper for the next consecutive 4 weeks, with a public hearing to be on November 5th.
Okay. All right, so that comes us to the board. I just need a motion to adopt the resolution to permanently discontinue right-of-ways in the Clement Crest subdivision.
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution.
Second.
Motion from Justin, a second from Carl. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you, Rob. Moving on, next item is communications from our town staff, town attorney, Al Benchoff, in communications.
Thank you, Mayor. I will break with tradition and make a communication tonight.
What?
The courts have been busy, and there are new opinions out that affect the town board directly. One of those is it's now really virtually impossible to have remote participation in a meeting. We had that during COVID, where people elected officials could call into a meeting. You could all call in. The courts have decided that that's no longer appropriate except in extremely limited circumstances, which I will explain at a future meeting with a PowerPoint, again, breaking with tradition. The second case is from the U.S. Supreme Court. The court issued an opinion explaining to some extent what is government speech on social media made by elected officials and where it crosses the line from private speech to speech that you're making as a town official on behalf of the town. That's a little more complicated to explain, which again I will do in greater detail at a future meeting, hopefully November.
That got it? Thank you, Al. Next, town manager, Ken Ginn.
Mayor, I don't have anything, but I'd like Chief Carter to give the board an update on what's going on in Western Carolina and how the town can assist with the relief efforts.
I approached Ken the other day about getting permission to do a state roster, which would mean that we would allow some of our folks to go up and assist, and meaning they would be covered by town insurance, of course, if they got injured or whatever. What I'm hearing right now is the operational periods for the rescue portion is going to be ending about October the 6th. So I don't know how much longer the actual emergency piece of it. There's a lot of recovery, of course, we know. But I've got 5 folks so far that have thrown their name in the hat that would be willing to go. I'm also, since we are so small and have such few people, I'm trying to partner with Statesville. We have 4 guys up there right now, and we're going to rotate crews out. So if we could just send, a couple guys with the Statesville crew, we may do that as well. But we're trying to work out the logistics of that so far. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Anything else, Ken?
No, sir.
Okay, then moving on to the board. Jenny, do you have anything to
I
report?
just want to say congratulations, Mr. CJ.
Thank you.
That's it.
Good job.
Anything? Carl?
Congratulations, buddy.
Justin?
Congratulations.
Same here.
I think that sums it up, CJ. Good job. Glad you brought all the kids and family tonight. It means a lot.
Looking nervous.
Yeah. So we do have one item that we need to go into closed session for. If I can get a board member to make that
I will
motion.
move that we enter closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11.
Motion from Rob,
Second.
second from Jenny. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Session, I just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion from Rob, second from Carl. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.